Hello! It's Valentine's Day! Woo! And seeing as I'm someone who never has been and probably never will be in a relationship, I thought what better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than talking about my friend's terrible ex. Here you go. Let's start off with my friend. We'll call her A. A is a sweetheart, but she has really bad choices in boyfriends. Like, one of her past boyfriends was going through a tough time with a disorder that I won't disclose, and it was basically the worst time for two very emotionally fragile people to be in a relationship. It all went to hell, but I'm still on good terms with both of them. But her worst boyfriend, by far, is probably this one guy. Let's call him C for creep, because that's what he was. To date him, but she was blinded by her puppy love. Oh well. I wasn't gonna stop her from dating him. And I wasn't gonna try to break them up. It's her life and her choices. I mean, I'll be there if she asks for help or advice, but other than that, I was just gonna be happy, because she was. Then came the inevitable breakup. So first, he didn't really accept it, so my friends had to stage an intervention. Now, I was at a doctor's appointment, a very common occurrence at that time, so I wasn't actually present for what happened, but this is what I got from my friends. They confronted him about his behavior, saying that it was really creepy how clingy he was, and how it's really messed up that he essentially stalked one of my friends, let's call her Kay, and would essentially follow her to her locker all the time, despite how uncomfortable it made her feel. So my friends are staging this intervention. I'm not too sure about all of the details that go on, but in the end, he gets pretty mad, and essentially he went like, "So be it," and walked off. That is also the reason why I have never been able to read the words "so be it" without having his voice in the back of my head being a whiny I'll probably have to censor that. Anyways, so you think it's over, right? Done, over with, nothing much. First of all, this intervention happened at lunchtime. And by the time I got back, I believe it was last period, and at that point, everything was already falling apart. Basically, I believe he went to the principal to complain that my friend group was bullying him, for being a creep and semi-stalking two of my friends. I didn't know too much about it at that time. I knew things were kind of tense, but I believe this was the next day. Like I said, it was a while ago. I can't exactly remember. He had actually called the police. Yeah. He called the police on my friend for breaking up with him. I am not kidding. This is real. This happened legitimately. And I mean, of course, the police actually showed up. And I mean, as someone who was not in the room, I wasn't involved in the police investigation. Yes, there was a police investigation, a very small one, but it happened. Did I mention that there was an active investigation going on over a dead body that they found in the park next to our school? And basically, all I knew was from what everyone told me, and of course this stressed a lot of us out, because, a lot of us were in pre-AP classes, we were, really busy with our studies, and now some of them had to be called out of class to go talk to the police, to tell them what was going on, and it was just this entire mess. And my friend A, the ex-girlfriend, actually told me that the police were with her at one point, and they were actually consoling her, saying, it's alright. It's just a high school relationship. It's not that big of a deal. There will be other guys, or maybe you guys will make up, stuff like that. And she felt really awkward, so all she did was kind of just smile at them. And the entire time I was listening, I was just like, you should have told them that no, you do not want to get back with him. He scares you. What the police didn't understand was that this guy was genuinely creepy. Like, he gives me a little bit of, how do I say this? I wouldn't call it serial killer vibes, because I don't believe he is smart enough to get away with more than one murder. But he definitely gives you the vibes of he's gonna end up doing something bad if, you know, he doesn't change. He might have changed, who knows? Hopefully, he's a different guy now. But back then, yikes. Now, my friend A's mom is an older Filipino lady, and A does have an older sister who I believe just had a daughter around that time. Now, A's mom is freaking out because the police are on the phone with her and she has no idea what's going on. But after that, she actually gets a call from someone else. C's mom. I've never met or even seen C's mom before, but because my friends were talking to the police and they were kind of involved in all of that, they actually did end up seeing her, and I remember what they told me was that she was very scantily dressed. She had a lot of tattoos, which isn't a big deal, because, I mean, a lot of people have tattoos, and a lot of people who have tattoos are very nice people, but I guess it could be seen as intimidating? I don't know, man. Anyways, the biggest thing, however, was that she had this really deep, gravelly, raspy voice. I believe my friend said she sounded like a chain smoker. So, imagine A's mom, tiny, older Asian lady, on the phone, and this is what she hears. I'm going to ruin your daughter's life. I'm gonna make sure she can never get a job. I'm going to destroy any chances she has in the future. How dare you, insert racial slurs, do this to my son? All of this kind of stuff. And it's just, it was intense and a giant mess. But of course, eventually things did kind of die down. And my friends just kind of went on with life. I mean, we avoided C. I mean, we avoided him to the best of our abilities. But I mean, he was in our school, he was in our grade. You can't really avoid him forever. I believe that after the entire fiasco, he was avoiding my friend group as much as my friend group was avoiding him. But you see, there was one slight problem. Remember how I said I wasn't actually there that day? Yeah, he apparently took it as a sign that we were still good. Like, there was no issue between the two of us, 'cause I wasn't actually there. You know, 'cause he didn't call the police on me, he didn't get me involved in like a police investigation where I got pulled out of my very important classes to go talk to some police who have much better things to do than this. And so he's still all buddy-buddy with me. Eventually, I think he stopped trying to avoid my friends and just honestly, he kind of pretended none of that ever happened. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. He pretended that none of it ever happened. And of course, my friends are still very upset with him, and they all think he's a creep. Now, I of course think he's a creep as well. My friends decided to tell me something which they didn't tell me before because they didn't think I ever needed to know, but they decided to tell me when the topic came up. Apparently, back in the 9th grade, C used to have a crush on me, which, I mean, we all found kind of weird because 9th grade was, I believe, the first time we even met. He barely knew me. I barely knew him. And I believe these incidents happen close to the beginning of the year, so it's not a lot of time to know somebody. And basically he would badger my friends all the time, you know, messaging them, going like, do you think Yuki likes this? Or do you think Yuki likes that? Or, hey, can you put in a good word for me? Or, hey, can you guys help me to, you know, all plan to go out somewhere, but once we go there, you guys can leave and just leave me and Yuki. And my friends, bless their souls, not only said no to him, they also just decided not to tell me, which was great, because I don't think I would have known how to handle it back then. I was very friendly to everyone, and basically I didn't see much bad in people, and so they were like, if she doesn't need to know this, which, thanks guys. That was actually really nice of you. Looking back at it, he did send me a lot of messages on Facebook, which were kind of weird. And honestly, now looking back at it, they're leading questions. They're really, honestly, kind of creepy leading questions that I just didn't realize were leading questions. And there was some hint dropping, but once again, like I said, I was an idiot back then and I never saw any of it. I mean, I was never like really comfortable around him, but after this I was really like, you make me uncomfortable. I won't treat you any different, but I would just like to avoid being around you because you make me uncomfortable, you know? And of course, I don't know if he never got the hint or he just didn't care, but he kept on acting like we were really good friends up until the day we graduated. I can actually remember one instance during our winter formal, which is essentially a prom before prom, that I actually snuck into the bathroom and stayed there for, I believe, like 5 to 10 minutes because I was avoiding him because he kept coming up to me to take photos together and I really didn't want to, but I also didn't want to be impolite, so I always agreed. And after that, I was just kind of like, okay, let me run. Let's not prolong this interaction any further. I would like it if our interaction stayed minimal. Another case was, of course, our graduation day. You know, we're all dressed in our gowns, I had my cap, you know, we were taking photos with our friends, previous teachers who actually came to see us graduate, which was really great. That was a great thing. That was great time. But of course, before I had time to leave, he came up to me and was like, "Hey, Yuki, buddy, let's take a photo." And I, of course, said sure. He wraps his entire arm around my shoulder, pulls me closer, and takes the picture. And as someone who's really uncomfortable with people touching me, especially if I'm not very close to them, it was, let's just say I was glad when it was over. And he ended up posting that photo together with a bunch of other photos he took of that day onto Instagram. And cue my friends laughing at me, because in the picture, even though I was smiling, my eyes were screaming for help. Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm like an entire continent away, across an ocean or two, you know. So probably won't have to worry about that guy. I do hope that he has changed and that he's doing better, you know? Hopefully he dropped the whole weird kind of stalking vibe. So, yeah. Creepy guy. Glad my friend's no longer with him. And, yikes. And yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. Happy Valentine's Day.